Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Wargame Red Dragon replay cast. Today it is a 1 versus 1 on Plunging Valley between our blue player, Lorne, who is George S. Patton. And I swear every time I cast a game with George S. Patton, he has a different name. So keep the same name, Patton. Come on, let's get real. Throwing me off. And on the right side, we have our red player, Fausty. And currently, I believe Faust is number 2, and I think George S. Patton is number 7 on the leaderboard. I just checked, but I just forgot. So there's that. But it is on Plunging Valley. Just a few places to go. Bravo, Fox, and Alpha, Delta for the other side there, which are pretty much a given. Very easy to capture those two, of course. Usually Bravo is captured. Troops come through the wood line here and then try to get your CV in the back. Whereas Fox is easy to capture for the other player, and you sort of have to go around and through to get to that one. So we'll see how that works out for these two players. And mostly going over towards Fox, not sending much to Bravo, just a Spartan over there to recon the area. And for Faust, BTR 90 with some recon going over there as well. So neither player really taking Bravo right away at all. Delta and Alpha both captured there. And both players going to Fox. And the OSA takes down a chopper there, but it already got the SAS out, so not too big of a deal there. And the BTR 90s getting pretty close here. And 2 T-64 BMs moving on up, and a BMP-3 with some troops. And here we go, Spetsnaz Gru now released and trying to get into the town, but there's quite a bit. They're going to be mangling those Spetsnaz, and they did not last too long. The K-29 fires on the Gurkhas, and Gurkhas trying to make it into the safety of the woods, but the K-29 is going to give them a little bit of beef until it is taken out by that Challenger marksman. And there it goes, all finished up. And usually the way I like to play this map, pretty much the same thing Faust is doing. You can get some units in here that are able to scout this area here, and I usually like to send a bunch of troops up this way. I kind of like to send them all the way over here, then move them all the way around the woods, and that way they're not really spottable. A little bit harder to counter that. And the Lynx taken out by the OSA. And T-64 BM was lost. Didn't see exactly what killed that, but the Challenger 2 is moving up from George S. Patton. And Challenger 2, the heaviest armor in the game at 23 frontal armor. Pretty much eats just about anything that comes in its path, but it has 22 AP power, so not the greatest AP power in the game, but certainly the highest armor at 23. And I really enjoy using Challenger 2s, but for the most part, I don't really care for the British deck. I do prefer the Commonwealth deck a little bit more. Has a little bit more variety to it. And still nothing going on over here. The Spetsnaz Gru getting into position at the town, and the Spartan in the back there, searching everything that's going on in that area for now. The Challenger 2 trying to get up to this T-64, and the T-64 is close enough to that Challenger 2 to do quite a bit of damage. While it only does 18 AP power, the Challenger 2 has 23 frontal armor, but if they hit each other at that close range, they'll do quite a bit of damage to each other, but the Fusiliers take out that T-64. So right now, Patton has a pretty good position here on Foxtrot. Tornado coming on in. And the OSA is backing off. Only one missile left on that. And some VDV in the woods. An additional VDV coming in as well. And some over here. Not really going to be too useful all the way over there. Just really a guard for anything that tries to sneak its way over that way. And Challenger 2 in the woods here. And tanks don't really perform all that well in the woods, as the VDV will see that Challenger 2. And RPG-29, it takes an RPG-29, but only does 1 bar of damage there. So Challenger 2 does fairly well in the woods, simply just because it has so much armor on it. And Marksman now pushing up and going to try and take out that Su-24. And is it going to get it? Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And the bombs go off on the Fusiliers. Takes out some of those. And either side really bringing in a new CV just yet. You want to make sure that they have the area first and then bring in the CVs. Common mistake in a 1v1 game is to make CVs right off the bat. Too many CVs, rather. And then you don't have enough actual units on the field to really hold a territory. And then your opponent gets ahead. BTR 90 here causing some trouble. Challenger 2 needs to take that out, or the Marksman, either way. And Challenger 2 fires, but it misses that BTR 90. Gurkhas finish it off, and now the Challenger 2 firing at the VDV there. Very close battle here. MiG-27 comes in, and I'm sure that MiG-27 really wanted that Challenger 2, but instead got the Marksman. And so far, this Challenger 2 really paying off. Only 2 bars of damage done to that Challenger 2 so far, so plenty more to go. And Gurkha's moving on in on those VDV, only 5 left. And now Faust going to be bringing in additional troops there, but doesn't have much in here. Looks like he totally lost Foxtrot, as no troops are going to be in there anytime soon. Takes out a Lynx there, but once again, not too big of a deal. And the last bastion here is some VDV, but he's making a push up the center here with some VDV and a BTR 90. And I'm going to try and push that out, but I don't think that's going to last too long. Harrier GR7 locked onto that BTR 90 and tossed all those paveways. And now Faust is in a bit of trouble here at the edge of Foxtrot. Once Patton actually gets a hold of this edge here, going to be very difficult to get in there. Anytime you bring in some troops through there, going to get hit by the Challenger 2 and or Law 80s from these units here. BRDM coming in the backside. And the Challenger Marksman coming down the road. And maybe able to take out that BRDM there. And VDV made it into the town. Spetsnaz Gru still chilling over here, not even in a town at all. And then BTRD moving across the area there for scouting as well. Challenger Marksman and the BRDM going to go at it here shortly. And spotted each other. And the Marksman takes some initial damage, but the BRDM now locked down from that incredible 35 mil fire and won't make it. But the BRDM did do a couple surprise chunks of damage to that Challenger Marksman while it was turned to the side momentarily. GR7 moving in, and looks like it may be going after, I'm really sure what it sees. Doesn't really see anything just yet. Perhaps going to get that BTRD. But he's just going to evac that GR7 now, as he's seen multiple incoming jets there at the MiG-25 and the Su-24 bomber. And peppers that whole area pretty good, but doesn't do too much damage at all. Challenger 2 just sort of shrugs it off, kicks the dust off its shoulder, and it is good to go. MiG-25 still flying around in the air and looking for some trouble. Tornado now coming after that MiG-25, and a Sea Harrier and the Harrier GR7 in the air as well. And mutual destruction, both planes going down. And Sea Harrier moving in, looking for some radar. GR7 looking to pummel something with the paveways. However, both jets not really quite equipped to be an ASF. Both of them do have ASF rockets, but not very good ones compared to that MiG-25 there. So they bail before they are lost. And I think now would be the time, a fairly good time for Patton to bring in something to Foxtrot or Bravo, where while Faust really can't afford to be doing that, he has to pretty much be buying units at all times, as Fox has been fairly thoroughly locked down with the Fusiliers and the Challenger 2 right on the edge. Anything that pops its ugly face out of that wood line there. He's going to get the wrath of the Challenger 2. And any of those troops, should they get too close. So the SBS in the edge of the line. So pretty much totally screwed either way. You'd have to take the long way around and try and do it somewhere else, or just simply bomb them out of existence in this whole area. If you drive down the road here, you're going to get hit by all kinds of ATGMs, or rather not ATGMs, but just sort of anti-tank rockets. Saxon and the VDV going at it. And VDV look like they're a little bit too far off to shoot. No, they do. But finished off by the GR7. And a bit of an overkill there. GR7 actually kills them with the 30 mil before those paveways even hit. And now a CV is being brought in by Faust to Bravo. Somewhat of a bold move considering he's losing Foxtrot here, but pretty much has to go over here now, since this is pretty much so locked down that it would be fairly unwise to try and take that back. He's going to be going over to Bravo now. He's going to be dropping off in the town, and that'll give him a +1 advantage over his opponent. So far isn't buying any CVs just yet, and the GR7, or rather the Sea Harrier, coming on out. GR7 behind that. Sea Harrier looking for some trouble. Not really going to find it. Nothing really in the air. MiG-25 now coming, and the Harriers will fear the MiG-25. And Sea Harrier going to throw some AIM-9L missiles, but not very good. Loses the Sea Harrier pretty quickly, and evacing that MiG-25. Harrier GR7 going to go after it, but Harrier GR7 not a very good ASF either, and it's just going to bail. CV now making its way into the town. And MI2 taking the long way around to scout out. And now a +1 advantage for Faust, taking Bravo there. And now a CV from Patton coming on in. That links. I'll put that in the backside of the town. This is usually where somebody put a CV, as it's pretty much the only place you can put it, somewhere around here. And this is a very obvious place, and so are these, but I've seen people just put them in the town here, and that actually kind of throws you off a little bit, because you usually want to try and bomb out this area here, because you assume that it's back here, but then kind of get thrown off with it in the middle of the town, and you just pretty much pump in troops here and move them all the way up the little cliffside here, and then down through, and try and make your way into these little town blocks, and hold that, and then just sort of chess your way over there. FE-32 troop carriers moving down the line. Good old APCs. And just going to scout out what's going on here. Going to see that the VDV are at the edge of the wood line. There goes the first one. VDV winding up for another shot. And there goes the second one. So some pretty good intel using those. Now he knows exactly what is at that corner there, and it's pretty much just some VDV, and he may have seen that OSA as well. MiG-25 in the air, Tornado going at it, and both of them evacing. The GR7 might be able to finish it off, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Oh no, actually the Rapier there finishes it off just before it was about to evac. And going to smash it to the ground, maybe even hit these SBS. Oh, so close. Almost got a bonus SBS recon group kill there. And KA-29 out in the open and just looking for some trouble here. Dropped off that CV earlier and now just trying to fly around. He's going to see this HQ-7. Lost that for a moment, and that gave that away to Faust. That CV has to be over here somewhere. Lynx trying to hunt that down, but both of them just sort of use... The Lynx just use rocket pods and can't really do too much about that plane there. That only fires at the ground. And this HQ here is in a bit of trouble. Nothing around to take it out. Here comes the GR7. And it's sort of just a matter of RNG and luck if a jet can take out a plane or not. And it does this time around. And Su-24 dropping bombs on the town line here. And misses that CV. And BTRT's moving across the way here. And I wonder what he's going to be doing with these. A Tunguska going to be placed over there for when those planes come across here. We'll get hit by that Tunguska there. And a BU now out on the field. VDV and Gurkha's going to go at it here in the wood line. Not too much of a problem there. Gurkha should be able to finish those off without much problems. Nepalese Gurkhas about to engage this BTRD with VDV, I do believe. Here comes the Harrier GR7, and going to drop on those VDV there. And there goes that drop. Smacks to VDV out of existence. However, some SAS lose their lives in that bombing run. But it looks like the Su-24, I believe that was an Su-24, was taken down. And Gurkhas and VDV going to be going at it here, but a T-72BU is coming soon. And Gurkha's very excellent close range shock troops with CQC, 9mm for close range and high rate of fire. Also, that Law 80 does 22 frontal armor, which is pretty nice. And the BU here is about to get smacked by that Law 80, but only does 1 damage, as the frontal armor of the BU is 22, matches that of the Law 80. It only takes 1 heat damage there. It's going to take a little bit more than that to take out the BU. And so far, Faust winning the game at 40-12. And another CV could turn this game around. And there comes the CV now, going to be placing that in the backside of Foxtrot. And now Faust is going to be in a little bit of trouble, as it's going to be very hard for him to pry that out, or at least neutralize Foxtrot. The GR7 was coming in there, but decided to evac. It must have lost sight of that BU. I think he's going to be trying to bomb that BU with that GR7, which probably would not have destroyed it, but taken a good chunk of health away from that. And we have Chieftain Mark II here to combat that BU. The Chieftain woefully inadequate to deal with it, but if it gets a side shot or a rear hit, will do a tremendous amount of damage. And GR7 coming in once again. And I'm going to try and bomb that BU. Or maybe the Tunguska there. It looks like he only launched 1 paveway, and it was enough to take out that Tunguska. Very well done there. And I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but either way, the T-72BU takes a side shot from those Gurkhas, and now only has 1 bar remaining. And so we may see a desperate Harrier GR7 push, and we do. It's also bringing a tornado with it, because Faust is aware that that's going to happen and may bring an ASF with him. Su-24 taken out there. Tornado with the ASF guard. The GR7 launches those paveway missiles, and goodbye, BU. With only 1 bar of health, is not able to withstand that. And Mi-24 going to release those GRU and fly back in the air and chuck some rockets at the Gurkhas. Or just fly away, one of the two. You coward. And leaves the GRU there. However, kind of left them for dead in a way, as there's Gurkhas on either side of fire blocking the vision of these Gurkhas. So they're not too much of a threat, and they are also panicked. And now able to see they're spotted through the fire. And GRU not going to last too long. Here comes the Mi-24 coming back now. And multiple BRDs pushed through the line there, dropped off those VDV, and then scouted ahead. But Gurkha's right at the edge of the line there. Tornado tries to take out that Mi-24, unable to do so. May make another round. But multiple OSAs now in the air. K-52 in the air. I'm going to try and igla that Tornado, but too late. It's already gone. Here comes the Harrier GR7. GR7 going to try after that. Mi-24 misses it as well, but launches an AIM-9 missile at the K-52 and halves its health. And K-52 fires back, retaliates, but misses both times. Another Harrier GR7 coming on out. And I really got to put those back in my deck. Harrier GR7s are so good. I only took them out just to try a couple other things, and then I totally forgot about them and just never really put them back in my deck. Harrier GR7s are just so good. Why I took them out, who knows? I was just experimenting with some random builds. The joy of building random decks on Wargame. K-52 launch on a couple Iglas here, but not going to get that tornado. And still a +1, and Faust's going to have a very hard time dealing with this. He can't really quite get through the middle here to get to Alpha and at least neutralize Alpha. If he could neutralize Alpha, he would definitely be winning the game very quickly, but that's going to be easier said than done with all of these units pouring into the middle. And Bravo is maybe his only hope, getting some units through there and getting to the HQ at the back there, as Foxtrot is still fairly locked down. Good luck getting into there with the all that is over there. The Challenger 2 now has been repaired up with that Stalwart. And 2 OSAs firing at this Harrier GR7. Might not make it out of here. Still going to have a long way before he is evac'd, and I think he's going to get lucky and actually get out of there. The tornado drew the fire of the other OSAs and may have saved that GR7 there. Challengers 2 still going strong. Not really been using it all that much lately. Sort of just hanging out in the woods. And the Mark 1 there takes out that BRDM. And Sea Harrier now flying overhead, and the radar is off, however. And going to turn that radar off as soon as he sees that evac's unable to fire, and multiple OSAs now firing away on those Harriers. Harrier GR7 taken out, so that is one less GR7 in that deck. I think he has a couple cards of them, because I've seen many Harrier GR7s. I think you get 2 per card, depending on your deck. Maybe 3 in a British deck. I'm actually somewhat unsure of that, but you get at least 2 per card, and I've seen at least 2 pretty much the whole game, so you may have 2 cards and may have 3 or 4 of them. Marksman pushing forward, has its radar off to avoid those anti-radar missiles, but no more missiles on that K-52, so not going to be too big of a deal. Sea Harrier coming on in, and the radar once again off, and not really going to be able to trick a high-level player as Faust. And he turns them on, and the Sea Harrier fires a couple missiles there at that Mi-24. And OSAS once again miss their target. And another GR7 here. I really do think he has a couple cards of these, because these have been just constantly out in the field. And the GR7 does actually sort of reload pretty quickly. And going to smack these OSAs here. May take out both of them. Does. Really nice hit there on that GR7. BM at the edge of the woods here, taking out anything that's coming across, and the Challenger 2 still hanging out at the same position, waiting for anything to come across there, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. And there is just 1 OSA left, no anti-air here, and it is out of missiles. So right now, Faust has pretty much free reign over all this. Another CV here is out on the field here for Patton, and he's going to be sending this to here. So Patton has pretty much free reign of air right now over Faust, as this doesn't have any rockets at all. And just 1 OSA is not all that much of a threat. It can certainly take down an aircraft, but only 1 of them with the amount of aircraft that Patton has been sending lately. So we're going to try and get this CV into the back here, and if he can do that, he will have a +3 advantage, which means he will be winning very, very quickly. But that's going to be a little hard to do. We have 2 VDV squads moving in, but there is plenty to defend this. A Challenger 2 now going to be moving up to the edge of the line here, and he might be able to actually side shot this BM. And that Challenger 2 is coming. It's nearly at the edge of the woods, and the side armor is faced to that Challenger 2 and loses that in one shot. And I think it already had possibly a little bit of damage on that, but a side shot from the Challenger 2 is not going to be a good thing at all. Now the VDV here going to be backing up, and he's backing up that Challenger 2 immediately, so no aircraft can come along and bomb that. So well played once again with the Challenger 2. One of my favorite tanks, but unfortunately I just never really used the decks that the Challenger 2 is in. And so I never get to use it that often, but whenever I do, it's just so satisfying. The Challenger 2 is just such a satisfying tank. There are potentially better tanks in the game, such as like the BU. To some degree, the M1A2 is definitely better. But Challenger 2 is just so fun with that heavy armor, and you can just take all kinds of ATGMs. You can just watch it soak up ATGMs and only take like 1 damage from each one. It's a very, very satisfying tank. I mean, multiple troops here coming into the edge of the wood line. VDV trying to push forward and trying to get in, but just not going to happen. Tornado flying overhead and trying to guard the skies. And Gru moving on in here. Another BU is out on the field, and it is pushing into the edge of the woods, but unfortunately, it's going to have to stop here. If it moves any closer, these Fusiliers and the Gurkhas will be able to Law 80 that. If they hit the frontal armor, the BU only going to do 1 damage per shot. But if it happens to turn to the side, it will possibly get one-shotted. And the Osa now has missiles once again, and is getting into place, into a better position here to attack the air. And still no more anti-air coming out. But it looks like Patton is a little bit low on air now, not as much as he once had earlier. Old gray mare just ain't what she used to be. And Challenger 2 moving forward here, going to peg the Spetsnaz Gru in the face with a buck 20 mil there. And peace out, Gru. But gotta watch out for this BU here. He's going to be moving that up. He's going to try and get this into position to hit that Challenger 2, but it's going to be very hard to do that when both sides are in the woods. And the Challenger 2 has much better coverage as he's able to back up into somewhat deeper forest than the BU with his broken wood line here. And Lynx rocket barraging the VDV. And the Osa is going to come around and try and take that out. Here comes the Harrier GR7 and takes out that Osa and also launches its paveways. Oh, and I'm somehow locked onto another Harrier there. And the Sea Harrier doesn't really get much of anything, but does take out that Osa there. So no more anti-air pretty much entirely for Faust. Going to bring in a new Tunguska in the back, and still has that Ka-52. Does have 3 out of 4 of its Iglas. A +3 advantage for Patton after bringing that rover in. So he's had that for a good few minutes now, and just really cruising up the way. And Ka-52 moving on in, and Iglas going to try and take out that Lynx there, and does, but it's all out of Iglas now. And a Tornado flying around in the air, trying to maintain that air superiority. If you can just have a ASF just sort of flying around in a circle in the back, then whenever somebody brings a bomber out, you're already halfway across the map. Your ASF is already on the map to be able to respond to that. And so it'll just basically run out of fuel, and then it'll evac bingo. And then you'll be able to bring it out fairly quickly, as refueling doesn't really take all that long. And so that's what he's doing with this Tornado now, just keeping it in the skies, and anything that comes out, he'll be able to react to that very quickly, because otherwise, sometimes you have to come all the way from back here, and by the time you get to the plane that you want to take down that's bombing you, it's already halfway evac'd, and your missiles don't quite make it in time. Here comes the paveway missiles after that BU. BU eats them all there, and only 1 bar of health left on that. Doesn't quite take it out. But also will need quite a bit of repairing on that BU, so that's basically out of commission for a little while here. It's not going to be able to do much with that. Challenger 2 is trying to push ahead, and let's see what it's spying here. The T-64, looks like the T-64 fired back, did a few bars of damage at that close range, and now trying to push forward here. BRDM taken out, And Challenger 2 is going to creep back into the woods, into his hidey hole. And Sea Harrier takes out that Tunguska, didn't turn off the radar. And so very nice there. No more anti-air at all for Faust, and that will do it for this game. Faust has to GG out. Patton the winner by quite a bit there, and really took control of Fox. And once you take control of that edge of Fox there, it's just about impossible to get in there. And with that said, he had that +1 advantage for the rest of the game for the most part. So well played on both sides. I hope you guys enjoyed the replay, and I'll see you guys next time.